Good morning and welcome to WAEC Breakfast hashtag What Are You Saying, where we serve you real conversations that matter, fresh perspectives and the voices shaping our world today. My name is Oluchi Uminka and with me is my amazing co-anchor Idehe Goodness. Here on WAEC, we're all about spotlighting the issues that affect everyday lives, especially those of young people, families and communities across Nigeria through thoughtful, youth-driven dialogue. As someone once said, a nation that doesn't prioritize its system is one that risks losing its future generation to frustration. And today's conversation brings that into sharp focus. WAEC results checking portal went down just hours after the release of the 2025 West African Senior School Certificate Examination results, leaving thousands of students in limbo. What really went wrong and what does it say about how we treat our young achievers? We'll be unpacking it all right here. So grab your tea, get comfortable, and let's get into it. But before then, let's meet my wonderful co-anchor, Idehe Goodness. Good morning, girl.
Good morning, Oluchi. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How was your night?
My night was, you know the ordeal that I went through yesterday.
I know the ordeal you went through.
My night was
honestly,
somehow
sometimes
great.
when we come out of some things, we're just more grateful. Honestly, we're just more grateful. I remember one time I felt very, very ill and having to bounce back up. I was now having a flashback of what I really went through, and my conclusion was that nothing is as good as good health, right?
Of course.
And thank God that you're here, sharp, bright. I mean, your color already tells it, and I like to see that.
Yeah.
And I want to play this game with you. So I've been seeing it on social media.
Okay.
You see some Instagram guys, they put up some pictures or videos and say that, oh, I'm this, but I do not look like it. Do you understand? And then they give some really weird facts about themselves. So everybody is seeing Goodness, and probably they have a stereotype that, oh, Goodness might be 45 years old, or maybe, oh, she's whatever. But I want you to tell me something that people might not necessarily guess about you, but it is true about you.
Okay, starting with first. I think my facial appearance, I won't want to say it's deceptive, but once I go out and people see me for the first time, they'll be like, oh, you're a very young girl. How old are you? So in their mindset, they feel that, oh, probably I'm around 20, 21, 22. And I'll just be laughing. The first issue I'm going to give you an instance was when I got to the university. I was in 200 level, and I was walking along the corridor. A lecturer saw me. I was like, why are you here? You're supposed to be in secondary school. I was like...
Such insults.
I don't understand.
Wow.
Yes, in a way, let's say it's lecturer bullying me in classes. We'll be having a class, and a lecturer will ask me to stand up and ask the whole class. Like, it really did happen. I had to go to the front of the class, and he asked everyone in the class that, is she among the students of this class?
So that means something that has been very keen about you, that people always miss, is your age
Yes.
and how you fit into certain places.
So people usually think on the first week that I'm very aggressive, whereas I'm not aggressive. I just have this kind of
don't try me
face, that kind of. But the thing is, once you are very close to me, you get to know that I have a very, very sweet aspect.
I like the way you're selling yourself to everyone here. I think for me, the only thing that people will think, but is not true, is that probably some people think I'm very extroverted. She's always out there. That is the very opposite. I am so introverted, and I would not like to.
But you look like an extrovert, like a sanguine.
I am so shy. If you put me in the midst of some people I do not know, I'm gonna cower in and be like, please take me out of here.
Wow.
So that's so amazing about humanity, and makes us all beautiful in our own different way. We will take a short break now. When we come back, the papers this morning has juicy stories that you would really want to hear. So please do not go away. We'll be right back very shortly. Welcome back, our valued viewers. What are your thoughts on these historical milestones on today in history? I'd love to hear your insight and perspective as well. Remember, you are the main ingredient in all of our conversations. I would love to hear your thoughts for our hot topic and also the headline reviews. Our phone lines are open. Please call us on 0702-500-7749 or 0701-424-2420. And if you are yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it is an official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share the link, tune in to channel 145 on your GoTV, and do not miss this for anything. We have interesting stories on the papers, like I mentioned earlier, and starting with is goodness with the Guardian newspaper. Let's head on.
All right, so good morning. We're starting with the Guardian newspaper, and one striking thing about the Guardian is they know how to give pictorial, pictorial or graphic images on the front newspaper. So this morning, the Guardian leads with the story, First Lady's humanitarian donations hit 12.9 billion naira in 2 years. And below the masthead, we have Nigeria may split without restructuring before 2027, no one do once. Beside that, we have appeal court restores interim forfeiture order on assets linked to Yahaya Bello. We are going to see what he said concerning, I wonder how some government officials, you've done something, or probably you have a skeleton in your cupboard. I mean, like, oh, because I'm in power. Or probably you have a skeleton in your cupboard. I mean, like, oh, because I'm in power. Or probably you have a skeleton in your cupboard. I mean, like, oh, because I'm in power. I mean, service power, I am immune to be called upon or to be sanctioned because of some certain skeleton in your cupboard, and that's what is happening to Yahaya Bello. I'm going to unveil the story, and beside that, we have JAMB sets higher bar to under 16 candidates. I don't know. In a way, I usually pity for them. Why? Under 16, you're giving them, rigid structure for them to get into the higher institution. I mean, it's not like that abroad. Our education system is very cumbersome. You have to pass through so many hurdles to get, to the peak of where you want. And just below the masthead, we have a pictorial view of Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu having so many, like in a circular form concerning the amount she has amassed within a period in rulership. And below the newspaper, we have Rep decries non-release of immunization funds. And beside that, we have Tinubu, NPAN, NGE, NUJ, and others mourn, pay tribute to late Doyin Abiola. I mean, like, my soul condolences to the family. So just looking at the First Lady, that's the lead story, First Lady's humanitarian donation, eat 12.9 billion naira in 2 years. First of all of you that have been going into strike, like we have the police, we have the healthcare workers, make una sing this song. Now our mama be this so that money will come out. That's just the truth. Follow the step of the Super Falcons. Follow the step, they know the road. They say follow no road. Yes. So like the story behind the First Lady's donation, humanitarian donation, says that it is not Nigerians' money. Take notes. According to her statement. So wife of President, Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, has distinguished herself as one of the most benevolent first ladies in the country, having doled out an estimated 12.9 billion naira in 2 years. And we say Nigeria no get money. People, they make money. Tinubu, in her right, has the mother of the country, has at intervals.
He's the mother of the country for me.
Donated the sum as philanthropy and humanitarian interventions for victims of terrorism and natural disasters nationwide. And sometimes beyond the shores of Nigeria, we can see how she's very magnanimous in spreading her funds to help humanitarian affairs. And we've had series of, people, normal, that would counter this ordeal that they should bring it to limelight. You are saying this is not Nigerians' money. This is your own personal money from the Renewed Hope Initiative. Now we have people from other opposition parties who are saying, Okay, show us how you've been making the money. Since it's your personal money, what is the source? Where is the source coming from?
You know what I think about this story? That Nigeria has really caused us to question the source of everything, which isn't wrong.
Okay.
But when I saw this firstly, I think I applauded it beyond asking where the money came from. Because if you look at the breakdown, she really had to invest in things that are critical.
Yeah.
For health, it was 2 billion naira. Disability empowerment, 1.85 billion. Internally displaced persons, 1 billion. Disaster banditry, 1 billion. Military families and widows, 427 million. The one that was quite shocking with the amount is the women traders, because I thought she would be more, focused on women empowerment and all. But a little sum of 150 million went into that, and then education and arts, 100 million. Yeah, so we've heard read stories
Each
about this.
Each person going with 250,000.
For how many women? Do you
Yes,
like
in Edo State, it's written in the story.
In the story,
that.
yeah,
Yes,
so
I'm going to, like for instance now, in others disability empowerment scheme, she gave out 1.85 billion committed to the empower persons with disabilities. So each of them received they received 200,000 naira each to 250 people in all 36 states and FCT. So another breakdown, we have economic empowerment from Kaduna State, 50 million grants to 1,000 women traders, along with 10,000 professional kits for midwives in the Northwest and Food Outreach Kogi State. Then we have 250,000 naira grant for each 200 PWD household with accompanying food items.
So it's a commendable one. The reason why we're not thinking it's so commendable is because we're also judging this from the lens of the president himself. We're expecting that,
But they are saying that before our president got into the presidential position, she wasn't doing all this.
No, that's not true. That's not true. I have seen or I've heard of her humanitarian activities even before she came into power, or rather as the First Lady of Nigeria. I think there were other initiatives, even for some students and in the education space, because in my school then there were some initiatives that had her come around, even though some of them were religious in nature. But I think she has always been one that has been committed to humanitarian activity. My only call to this really is that if we see it multiplied amongst leaders, their involvement in humanitarian activities, even from their personal purse or government money or federal money, the impact will be more felt. But if you see it from one person, we'll be raising eyebrows and but look at what your husband is in the president.
But look at the opinion of this spokesperson for the presidential candidate LP in 2023 general election. That's Tanko Nyunuswa. He said that the EFCC are silent about this, investigating this. On a normal day, if we have ministers who we are seeing splashing out this kind of amount of money, you're sure that EFCC will have been on that way investigating the source of
splashing the money for their own personal benefits. Now, this is for humanitarian activity, so you might not necessarily want to raise eyebrows, because eventually the money that you're giving us, which is, has been amassed.
He reached you.
It reached me in a way.
It reached you?
In a way, in the education area, probably, but not necessarily. But that's some interesting update, and I'm sure we'll uncover it.
Okay, so one more.
Go.
Let's look at this story, still on the Guardian newspaper. I want to bring this out. It said the Court of Appeal, Lagos Division, has set aside a federal high court ruling that struck out an interim forfeiture order obtained by the Economic and Financial Crimes, EFCC, to seize 14 properties allegedly linked to the Kogi State governor, Yahaya Bello. Now, we spoke about Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu concerning her donations. And now we have another person in the government's position, obtaining properties.
For himself now.
For himself. And now, but the issue is, we are not sure. The other courts carried out an order that they need to had its forfeiture under the government house. The government should own it. But now we are having the Court of Appeal in the Lagos Division saying that no, it was an erring judgment. What do you think you can say about it?
I think we need more investigation. I don't want all this passing.
He has 14 properties located in Lagos, Abuja, Dubai, United Arab Emirates.
It's ridiculous.
And
it's
the
not
funny,
new.
sorry, the thing that is even shocking was his last statement that Bello argued that properties were acquired before he was elected governor and therefore could not have been purchased with Kogi State funds. Then he now used this as a backup. I wonder how many times they will always use the law to, to support themselves. He said, and I quote, he invoked Section 308 of the Constitution, which grants immunity to sitting governors. So he's telling them that no, because he's the current governor of Kogi State, they can't do anything to him. So from civil and criminal proceedings, contending that the EFCC lacks the authority to institute any action against him while in office.
You only come up with such a claim if you have skeleton in your cupboard.
That's just
so that already is pointing fingers in places that we were already pointing fingers. You're just even making our claims become more open, because why would you now create a rigid structure towards your investigation? If you were totally innocent or you have acquired this wealth through some other means, allow the investigation happen without putting any immunity that makes you not, do you understand what I mean? So eventually, this is not the first time we're hearing of politically elected leaders, acting
We're
the way
going to
they
bring
do.
skeletons out of his cupboard very soon.
Interesting. Let's move on to the Punch very, very quickly. The first one here, the major headline says, foreign investors sell off 576 billion naira Nigerian stocks in 6 months. Outflows soar 85% year-on-year. Economist cites Trump-era policies shift towards treasury bills. Tinubu consoles Ghana after a helicopter crash kills 2 ministers and 6 others. Kwam 1 pushes back as FAAN probes airport incident. Receivership role. Egging Power challenges FBN Quest talkover move. Over the major headline, we see WAEC under fire as result portal goes down. Nigeria-US advance high-level talks over visa restriction. And the last story is on pension battle. It says police retirees reject federal government's health care offer. That's very interesting. But the one that is quite saddening is the story I got to pay attention to yesterday night. I think very late at night, I saw the air crash incidents that happened in Ghana that claimed the lives of certain ministers, and how our president had to express his condolences to the president of Ghana, John Mahama, and of course the people of Ghana. It's a very sad one, because not just lives were lost, but people who were leaders in that sense. And this just makes me really question why we see a number of air crashes happening, especially if they are targeted air crashes. And there are other stories. I don't want to open this I don't know how to put this, but there are some air crashes that should be investigated, because some of them they actually sound targeted, right? And this is just one conspiracy theory I'm just putting out in the open.
Especially if they have a preceding election coming up.
Exactly, if there are things like that, or if we've heard of some other air crashes in Nigeria that happened to some individuals that are reputable in the society, and there were comments in different areas, social media, personal people saying that something fishy would have gone wrong. I mean, we're Nigerians, we always think of the fishy that is always going on. So I think some of these air crashes should be investigated as well. And my sincere condolences to the people who have lost their lives. But another story, quickly, we have to move, is on the flood story. But this one is saying that digging boreholes in Lekki is probably drinking shit water. This is a blow.
Wow.
This is a very major blow. The permanent secretary of the Office of Drainage Service and Water Resources in Lagos State, Mahmood Adigbite, has said that people drilling borehole in the Lekki axis of the state is probably drinking shit water. While speaking at a stakeholders meeting in the state recently, Adigbite noted that contaminated boreholes in Lekki pose health risk, and added that treatment of wastewater would eradicate any form of disease that may arise from it. So we do not just have flood problems, we do not just have water drainage issues, we are now having an impending health issue. So people staying around Lekki, I'm telling you that your permanent secretary of the Office of Drainage Service says that you people are drinking, in quotes,
water.
this water, or in Nigerian parlance, as they call it, shit water, which is quite disturbing. It's very, very disturbing. I don't stay on the island here, so I'm not firstly so agitated. But we see some of the water that come out when we go to turn on the tap. You see how brownish they look like. Even though you treat them, sometimes they get better but come back to the same state. And
Even the
let's start having a
treatment,
permanent solution to some of these
the
things.
treatment we are treating, are we not also taking chemicals into our body?
Interesting. So we have a lot to consider. But that's all the story that we have this morning on the Nigerian newspapers. If any of them caught your interest, I'm sure a number of them would have. Please head on to our comment section on YouTube and let us know your thoughts on it. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we're heading straight to our hot topic for today. So please stay with us.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, welcome back, our valued viewers. Today's topic is WAEC result portal down due to technical issues, and this has been causing real anxiety across the country. WAEC's results checking portal, a digital gateway to millions of dreams, suddenly went offline just hours after the official release of the 2025 West Africa Senior School Certificate Examination result. The council says it's due to technical issues, and while they've promised resolution within 24 hours, the damage in trust and stress levels might already be done. This situation isn't just about downtime. It raises broader questions about digital infrastructure, preparedness for high traffic events, and the psychological toll on candidates who have waited months for this moment. It's a conversation that affects students, parents, institutions, and the credibility of our entire educational system. We want to hear your thoughts too. Were you or someone you know affected by the result portal crash? How did it make you feel? And what would you like to see done differently going forward? Of course, I will be having this conversation with my incredible co-anchor, Goodness Idehe. How many years ago did you write WAEC?
2016.
2016. You're an OG. You have been in this system for a while. But I mean, this is a very stressful story. It's stressful because before this particular technical issue, incidents that happened, I think on Monday, was it on Monday when I was reading the Punch newspaper that showed us the disparity in last year's performance and this year's performance from a 70-something percent in success. We're now seeing a 33 point something percent. So it's showing that there's a lot of concern happening. And we had just finished dealing with JAMB. You know that? A few months ago, we had just finished dealing with the whole JAMB, whatever, JAMB problem, JAMB failures, everything. Now we're moving on to WAEC. It's just opening up much more, that there's a lot of problem that we are just talking about, but it's like the people who are meant to solve them are just looking at us talk. Do you get it? That's the vibe it gives me, that, oh, people should just keep talking. But we'll keep talking because we know that eventually it will be solved. So now, looking at this specific one on technical issues, I'm wondering, my question firstly to you is, what do you think are the likely cause of recurrent issues like this? You always hear technical issue, this crashing, this and that happening. Why do we see this recurring in our system?
Well, first of all, I would say it's poor performance preparation could be one of the effects, or the possible effect of the technical issues we've been having. And in short, Nigeria, we are not yet extremely vast when it comes to technology. So, in a way, we are trying to bring what they do outside to replicate it here. It's very beautiful. The idea is actually very awesome. But at the same time, do we have people that are extremely good at it? That's just it. It's not about bringing an idea. It's about also training the people that are also in that section. Okay, we have technical workers. How efficient are they? How vast is their knowledge? So if something or such happens or develops, are they capable? Do we have somebody in that area that can actually give or resolve the issue going on? Something of such like this can never... Not that can never happen, but cannot be this bad outside the country. I'm not even talking about African countries. So first of all, it's just the preparation of the technical crew workers that have caused this. And I want to say it is like a plague that has been reoccurring.
Yes.
Just a plague in the education system. So we tried, first, with JAM, we started with paper and pencil. We moved, we saw that, CBT, a good innovation. We moved to CBT. The very first CBT they did, it was a total colossal. Let me just put it that way. But after that, I now look at it, they were not dashing some people marks. So that to just reduce the focus of the citizens on their efficiency. And now we have WAEC. Even WAEC is even proposing that soon they will start their CBT exams very soon, where students will have to be using computers to do their examination. I wonder how that one is even going to happen.
Don't know.
So imagine this technical issue we are having. Then you want to bring CBT exam,
which is not something that we should be discussing, because why shouldn't we want to advance because we have not solved something? And we're calling ourselves developing nation. But when I just looked at it, I think the first thing is what causes crashing generally, especially for all of this kind of
overcrowding.
Is server overload. Because I remember in school too, there were times where we wanted to do exams called GST. I think some other schools call it GNS.
Okay.
Some call it GNS, General Studies, some GST, General Studies, whatever it is in your school. And because this is not just an exam for a faculty, it's for the whole school. Every 300 level student, 200 level student, which spans up to thousands of students. So when you log into the portal, in fact, the thing that can happen is you probably could be logged out when you have started answering the question. And when you come back, maybe the time, starts counting already. So sometimes while you're even preparing for examinations like that, your prayer point is different. You're not just praying to pass. You are praying that everything works for you so that you don't have several issues that causes you to miss. Because there are some people that have really terrible several problems or technical problems, and they couldn't continue that session.
The mouse could be hanging.
Exactly. So they couldn't continue that session. And sometimes when you go to the computer units in the school, the general computer units, you see how they will drag the process. There are some people that I know that had to really take another course, that same course again, because of a technical issue that wasn't solved. So there's this overload we have in our systems. And you cannot imagine the number of students that are writing WAEC every year. It's a great number. So having to access the portal and not thousands of people at once are trying to do that. But then you talked about poor preparation, and I think that's something we should even open up much more. We don't use our equipment well. Before you launch a date for us to access the portal to check our results, you should have done a simulation in that sense. I mean, these technical people, I'm not really so technical, but I've heard of stories where you can create a simulation, like make the database become as high as it will be when people eventually want to check it, and monitor the glitches, the possible problems that can happen, so that you're already equipped to be able to solve it. But there's this way we attend to issues. I mean, I heard of this word very recently, the anyhowism, across different sectors. Even as humans, we just feel like, let's just do it anyhow. We'll eventually just get over it. Let's do it anyhow. We'll rugged it. It's a terrible culture that we have as humans in this country. And it's even entering into all of our system, because the people in our systems are humans like you and I. So if I don't treat what I'm doing if I don't treat the basic things I'm doing with so much intentionality, and I'm using anyhowism for it, people will suffer for it at the end of the day.
And they will even be telling that it's not their fault now. They can't predict. At least when they checked it, it was working fine. So it's system, it's computer, anything can happen to it anytime.
Not at all.
So
at this point, you have to create and simulate what is going to happen. Many times when you see certain technical stuff being launched abroad, or even in Nigeria, some other recognized private institutions that are very technological driven, before they launch anything, a lot of practice, a lot of, I don't want to say rehearsals, but not rehearsals, but let's just test this thing and see how it works. When we do it, when we go overboard, we're expecting that 3,000 students are going to access this portal. Let's do a testing of 10,000. Let's see if this portal can take 10,000. If we see that it's having problem, do you understand? It gives us an overstretch in solving the problem. So I think firstly, we don't like to hear stories like this. We heard it a lot. Technical glitches is becoming like a song already in our ear.
And that's why we keep on having mental health, because this is also one of the things that can lead to mental issues among the
we're
students.
going to come to the psychological point of it, but I also want to talk about a possible lack of investment in our system, which is something that we should pay attention to. Because I just mentioned something, and some other persons might counter what I've said to say, do you think your system can even do that? So I feel like generally we have a lack of investment to some of our tools, some of the things that we use, in the educational system as a whole. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, yes, that's true. That concerning investing in basically our education system, we've been bantering over this topic on this table concerning the government interest or the government attitude towards improving the education system in the country. Like it's something that had been deterring for long. When I was in school, in university, they had several issues. Let me give you an instance. Not that maybe I'm exposing them. In my department, we have a lab that had these kind of big machines, because I studied English language. So for phonetics, right? Could you believe that for once, from my 100 level to my final year, we never made use of that equipment. And it had been in the lab, covered with dust and so many things. Why? Because we don't have people that can actually undo that. So if the government were to have been investing in our education system, come on, I'll have probably enjoyed the benefit of, having access to know how to use that and also to improve my learning. But here it is in Nigeria, where we don't see education as a top priority. They will tell us, young people are the leaders of tomorrow. Are you giving the young people, which had to be the leaders of tomorrow, better education? You're not. You're not investing. We're investing in something else for to glamorify our country, to glamorify our term that, this beautiful thing. But whereas the key thing we need in education is very important. I would just say that the government is not doing enough in the education system. We need more and more and more support, more funds to be channeled into that. So that we can even get, if we invest more in education, these glitches we are having, these technical issues we are having,
things that can be sorted.
We have students that have graduated that will be able to solve this in the country. So you don't even need to get people from outside the country to come and solve
I like that. If you train your students so they can even solve the issues that you have.
That's just
we have to take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation even more. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population. and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on WAEC remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. WAEC, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Welcome back, our viewers. Our topic today is still on the recent technical glitches that WAEC has been experiencing, and the portal has not been opening for students to be able to access their result, which is quite damning in that sense. So we firstly started with trying to understand why we're seeing a recurrence of this. And like I've mentioned, it's already a song we sing on this table. From Jamb, okay, we have some comment here from Opeagbe Opeyemi. He says, good morning, WAEC show. Good morning to you, Opeyemi. The technical issues show the lack of strong digital infrastructure from WAEC. Yes, this issue was probably caused by the surge on their servers from candidates, like the host said. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for, reiterating what we have mentioned. It's a very damning situation, a damning story. It's not something that really places us as people that know what we're doing. And I'm going to re-emphasize this thing again. This anyhowism, anyhowism culture we have, it won't take us far. I think we should, beyond the WAEC, I want you to take this word from me today. If you ever get to do anything at any point in time, if you try to do it anyhow, you might bypass some processes. You might be able to overcome some of those hurdles temporarily. But one day, they will open up, and it's always more disastrous.
That's how you get anyhow results.
That's what is happening to WAEC right now. I'm sure before now, trust me, it's the same equipment they've been using. But we did not hear of a lot of technical glitches before because they found a way to patch things up. But now it's becoming very, very obvious that no patching you can do again can hold me. I am going to explode and let the world know that we are not functioning with the right things. So you have mentioned that investment is something we need to focus on. If you think education is something, that's why I was looking at the before I allow you read some things that you saw from stakeholders. The First Lady's humanitarian activity, even on education, wasn't as much.
Yeah, she did.
It was 100 million. I'm not trying to say your 100 million did not do anything, but if you look at our budgeting, two different sectors, education always takes the least. Education doesn't even take as much. Sometimes, even when there's that allocation to it, before it gets to them, it takes time. When it not even gets to them, there are individuals that do not even use it for what it is meant for.
Use it
so
for their
a lot of
pockets.
rot in the system, a lot of rot, and I say this unapologetically. We will keep having these issues if people that ought to take things with a lot of intentionality are using anyhowism. That's the quote for the day. To handle it, we're not making progress.
And that's why people will be traveling out anyhow to get, to get better things outside the country.
Very true.
Now let's look at the education stakeholders, what they have said concerning these WAEC glitches.
Yeah.
Said they have blamed this poor performance on systemic failures, including poor exam conditions such as power outages, odd-hour scheduling, amid paper leaks, and this really affected them this time around. I heard about some certain papers like core subject. The questions.
I don't get it. They are saying that poor conducive environments
No.
is what is causing technique. No.
Poor exam
Somebody is playing with
conditions.
me here.
Then power outages, that is our electoral power people. They need to also to be, they need to come on this table too. Because there was no light. We had some students in Osho State where they had to be writing their exams at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. using torchlight. I mean, in that kind of
I want
condition.
you to critically assess this. How do you think this actually is the cause of a technical glitch? No, is it that we don't read as? I mean, are they trying to bamboozle us here?
Generally,
This is a technical glitch
they are
we're
talking about
of.
the poor performance of this,
It should
generally
be.
of the systemic failures. So poor exam conditions, which serves as the poor power outages, odd hour scheduling, and paper leaks. Now, these education stakeholders are talking about their loopholes of the WAEC bodies.
Okay.
Now, imagine, reason why we are even having the results glitch issue is because if you look at from the beginning of the exam, how come exam questions are being leaked out? Then you have students to sit more than the hours that have been stipulated, waiting for another exam. And not that maybe they even changed the question. No. They didn't change the question. They just reshuffled it. To tell you how lazy the system in Nigeria is, especially. Then they also said further about an understaffed schools with unmotivated teachers, stakeholder perception, and accountability. And those were the things they stated concerning the poor performance of the systemic failures in education system specifically.
I like how they highlighted their fault as well, but this did not highlight the one that had to do with the technical glitch itself, but the poor performance, because the WAEC story opens two areas. There's the poor performance from 70-something% to 30-something%. There's also the technical glitch where people can't even access the portal to even check the results when they don't really pass, which is quite saddening. Opagwe also has more comment here. He says it has become a recurring issue both in Nigeria and in West Africa. The incompetence from WAEC is too glaring, yes, and it's also very terrible. Thank you so much, Opemi, for commenting. So, yeah, we have really mentioned a number of things that are really wrong with the system that needs to be looked into. But also, let's talk about solutions now, how we can move forward. Because if some of these things that are happening in this publicly owned institutions like WAEC, I mean, it's the government that runs all of these things. What kind of collaboration can you envisage that can help us probably manage this better in coming days? Because I believe that in the Nigeria tech ecosystem that we're in, we're not so backwards. We're not so. I've attended a number of different tech conferences that makes me think that people are actually working extra hard to be innovative and come up with ideas in the tech areas. But we don't see as much collaborations, even with federal bodies and people that even need some of these things. Another concerning thing I see happening generally across different systems like these exam bodies or even educational systems in public schools is that they are managed, owned, run by people that have been there for too long. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You see, I mean, sometimes you go for clearance in universities. I'm not going to call any names, but let's even think about this together. You go for clearance universities. When you get into some of these bursary units or some of these offices, who are the people attending?
People there.
Agent people that are even tired. They don't want to be there anymore. I know the retirement...
They can't even climb the staircase.
That's an interesting one. They don't want to be there anymore. And these are the people handling this stuff. So who do we really have there handling it? So I'm talking collaboration from private-owned institutions. How do we think that we can move forward beyond having these terrible, glaring issues in the WAEC system?
First of all, we need to infuse out this ideology of gerontocracy, having older people in system. I'm not saying that like their use of them is not needed, no. But areas where we need active, active hands, active energy, let's make use of the young people. And again, there's this, I don't know, will I call it a parasitic mindset of people in government offices where they confiscate things as, oh, if they're not there, I want my children to be there. People that are not even qualified. You put them there, why? Because they are from either your lineage or your family. You know, this distinction that, oh, this person is from my side. Hey, let me put this person in this position. And this person is not capable enough to undo that situation. That's one thing that we need to deal with. We need to make it open let's get expertise, people that are very good, veterans that can handle this area. We have people that are very, very good in terms of this tech that you've stated in Nigeria, but they are not given the opportunity to be in that position.
Sometimes even if they're given the opportunity, it is not appealing enough for them to want to be there.
Yes.
Why would you tell, okay, I'm a bright tech talent. I know the technical know-hows. I know how you can avoid. There was a particular conference I went for one time. The person who helped in developing a particular, I forgot how it's called, maybe a portal for examination for that university to help it conduct examinations was a student. He was a student, but he did not do it as per, I'm going to be working with you. It was more like a project he committed to with his team members, and they developed something that made, you know, that university conduct a particular registration online seamlessly. And this was somebody that had gone to take training as regards this. So these technical glitches, if you look at it, it's not something that cannot be solved. But who do you have there solving it? People that have been there for 20, 30 years. Somebody using the same old process.
Of course, that is not, you know, updating himself or herself concerning the new technologies we have. And the issue still boils in the fact that we don't want to lay them off. We're not saying they should lay them off. You can give them other position, probably as head of a department, but just to be managing. Then you have people there under them that can actually do the work. And I also want to plead with the government. Don't let other government officials, if you are the one heading it, to, you know, make that offices as their own and for their families. There are people that, yes, there are some people that are very good than even some of the people they want to, you know, recommend from their families. Yes. We have people that can do this work. Give them the opportunity to do. Let it be a fair game. We are practicing, you know, equity, fairness. Let it be fair. Let there be equality among everyone. Don't say, and this is just the result of it. When you put people that you are okay from your family, and there's a distinction. Putting somebody from your family and that is able to do it is different from putting somebody in your own side that is not able to do it. So if you put somebody that is not capable of doing that, you will get what? Anyhow result. That's why we have anyhow is it's happen. After all, I'll put my person there, make it collect the money. After
we'll be fine at the end of the day.
It's not Nigeria. We will manage it.
True. We need more professional technical operators in this system, and we have them. This is not the one that we have to go abroad to ship them. No, we don't. In our country, in our schools, in our universities, amongst these people that wrote this WAEC exam, I can tell you that there are certain talents, bright minds, that probably know just one or two techniques that could have helped, you know, with some of all these problems that we're having. So I'm hoping that it changes. Now, we're going to wrap up the conversation. Let's even look at the emotional state of students at this point. I can't talk about a conversation like this and not go psychological, because this can tell on some. Imagine WAEC preparation is like a year. In fact, it's more than a year, because from SS1, when you're in senior secondary school 1, your teachers are already, what was it called now? They're already charging you up for your WAEC examination. Rigorous practice, rigorous reading, a lot of things happen.
Staying on the school.
Yes, because it's not 4 subjects like JAM, right? It's 9 subjects, I think. I don't know if that's changed, but I think it's still 9 subjects. So it starts from SS1, senior secondary school 1, into 2, into 3. So when I decided to write it, and we looked at the reasons why a lot of poor performances happened, and then checking my results, I'm seeing technical glitch, I'm not able to access it, I don't know my fate. It tells on the emotional state of the students.
There's that
How do you think you can address it?
There's that tension when you get the news that, oh, WAEC result is out. Your heart beats will start raising. Then all of a sudden, you try to log in and the thing is showing you error. It's as if, I don't know, it's just...
Can you let me know my fate already and let us move on?
It's mentally draining, and that's why I think we're not even having all this, what do you call it? Is it conferences now, or like a publicity of mental health? Yes. Even the system is also contributing to us having, you know, mental issues. Imagine a student. I knew of a student that when this one was even JAM, when the result came out, she failed. She failed woefully, and this student was one of the best students in a school that I don't want to mention. One of the best of the best. And our result was totally bad. But when they had to give her the opportunity to resit, guess what she had?
All A's?
She had, no, I'm talking even about the JAM. But she had 340 something. And this was the person that they gave 140 something.
Interesting.
Imagine. At that moment, she was down. Even her parents came to the school. They didn't know how to encourage her. Like, what can they do about this? What can they do about that? But after all, at least there was a light in the tunnel in the end, and it's brightened her out. But for the WAEC aspect, no, let's look. We don't even know how many students right now are affected mentally concerning the situation on board. And we don't even know how many parents are putting pressure already on their children that, if you fail this, you are in trouble. And now that they can't get access to their results.
There are some parents that don't even have access to, they're not as, what we call, digital in today's world to even know what's happening. Some of them they stay in rural areas. So they're expecting that you should have checked your results. So imagine the child coming to say, Mommy, there's technical glitch.
They're like, you're lying.
Exactly.
Or probably you failed, you've done this. Then they'll decide not to give the child food for that day or so.
Interesting. I think the way we can really address this is to not sell anxiety to the students. At this point, it's for everyone to be calm, because even when the system fails, your heart cannot fail at the end of the day, because you need to still move. We're in a country where whatever happens to us, we keep moving, we keep getting better, we keep looking at what needs to be corrected.
And there are some students that their life, actually, they have really put their life depending on this result. So if the results should come out bad, even with these glitches they've already had, it's like 2 heart attacks coming at the same time.
Interesting. And I think this is my closing statement for the West Africa Examination Council. It's time to really do better at this point, and you need to do more in building people's trust again. So I think there's a lot of branding, or what's it called, crisis management, that they need to pay a lot of attention to, so that people can have trust in this system again, because WAEC is not just a 2025 thing. We're still going to have more in coming years. Let us see it get better at the end of the day. And at the heart of every exam result is a student full of hope, anxiety, and dreams. So when system fails, it's not just a technical glitch, it's a disruption of trust. So as we move forward, let's remember that digital progress must go hand in hand with accountability and compassion. And remember my very strong word today: let us avoid any heroism as a people, as a nation.
Of course.
All right, do ensure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. And tomorrow we have more interesting topic for you. So catch us tomorrow. Bye.